Thank you. Okay. We don't have any citizens here, so I think we'll jump right into the administrative reports. Mr. Grandjean?
All right. So board priority 1, increase student success, continue a tradition of student success. Ms. Beadle conducted our instructional specialist interviews. We have placed personnel at the high school and the middle school. These are designed to support our new teachers and our current teachers, so we'll be having experienced colleagues there. All of our current vacancies are still posted on our website and statewide digital platforms. We are still currently trying to fill a couple of last-minute positions, a couple at the elementary. I know 2 for sure at the high school. Intermediate, I think we finished our last paraprofessional this afternoon. We had a virtual meeting with our Texas Education Agency representative for one of the new initiatives that will be implemented. This is legislation that came down after our last legislative conference. And in addition to our intruder detection audits, we will now have what the state deems as a district vulnerability assessment. This is when TEA will come to our campus for approximately 3 or 4 days and go top to bottom every single piece of the safety plan that we have through our EOP. They're going to just make recommendations, and then they will point out deficiencies for us. And making contact with our representative, who's actually coming Wednesday to walk through and look at things with us. We've never made a contact, built a relationship there. So we'll walk through and kind of get his opinion on some things. As you've seen, we've got fencing projects going on, elementary and intermediate. Have the 8-foot fence. We've gone with a 1-inch fabric that is deemed unscalable in 2 different directions, plus the ties at the top, or where the exposed wire is at the top. So that's 3 aspects of non-scalable for that fence. And once he gets through, he'll give us kind of an informal rundown that will help us make sure that we're abiding by what TEA has proposed for us. We're preparing the details for our new employee orientation. It's going to be on August the 6th at 8:30 in the morning. If you haven't been, usually what we'll do is kind of have a meet and greet. Everybody gets to kind of mingle and visit with each other, and then we introduce key personnel or different departments throughout the district. So any trustees that would like to come, please.
Does that start at like 7:30 or 8?
We eat breakfast at 7:30.
Yeah, and the program starts at 8.
Yes, ma'am. We had our safety and security meeting for the summer on July the 15th, on Monday. We have also completed our Safe Cycle 2 grant. Submission was finalized, and we were awarded $150,000. That was the one that we hoped would mirror the Safe Cycle 1, to where we were awarded $1.1 million. Didn't quite get there, but this will still be valuable funds that we can use and not have to take money out of our operating budget. We attended an official legal counsel representative meeting on July 10th with our STAIR program. Representatives from the bonding company walked through and offered some proposals to mediate our issues that we had with the contractor. After we broke those down and visited with our third-party representative from Sledge Engineering, he's actually working through this with us. It's not part of what we originally brought them on with, but it's part of the bond, so they're jumping in on this with us. We have a counter offer that our attorney will propose back to the bonding company, and we'll see where we are at that. What we're actually hoping to do is at the front of the building, have everything put back as if nothing had been touched. And the rear of the building, we're still going to have to construct some stairs because of the way the traffic has to flow and emergency exits and things of that nature. Obviously, we have brought on Weaver and Jacobs. We had a Board of Trustees Facility Committee meeting to discuss potential revisions to some recommended projects. Our schematic design drawings, we'll talk about those later on, are ready to move forward to see what stages that we're going to move forward in the design process. Our safety and security update, some of the same things, filled all of our major vacancies, still have some key positions available. We continuously evaluate these positions. We'll have a teacher that may be in a special ed life skills setting that we adjust based on our populations to more of a resource room type situation. Those are things that we look at continuously. With the passage of our bond, all of the conversations that we have, every Monday we have a 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock meeting with Sledge Engineering, updates everything that we've visited with our contractor and our architect. We keep a digital platform that they call Basecamp, so we keep notes in case we have to go back and look and verify something that was discussed. We'll have another facilities committee meeting after we get some more information back on approving these schematic designs. The architect will take those, that'll be later in the meeting. We'll get more indefinite pricing, and then at some point after that is whenever they develop the base bids that the board would agree on for the contractor then to give us prices that they nail down and follow along throughout the whole project. Track report, we did find out today that once all the rubber spongy stuff had been taken off of the track, that on the inside edge there's some of the asphalt. The way the track is built is there's basically two street curbs that go the width of the track. Inside that they place some road base that they pack down, and it's put in a process where they water it and pack it and get it all nice and smooth. Then they come back with asphalt just like on a street. So it would probably be 2 inches or 2.5, I don't know, something like that. They lay the asphalt. So the track is basically a road. And then they come behind that with the coating that you would see whenever you walk out on the track, the little red spongy. So the demolition crew over the last couple of weeks have been taking off the top layer of the red spongy stuff to expose the asphalt. Normally in the process, that's where they would go. They kind of clean the asphalt out, go back with the rubber coating, and we have our new track. On the inside edge, which would be lane 1, as you go certain parts of the track, instead of curbs and then being flush where the asphalt is poured, our track, for some reason or another, the asphalt is up even higher than those curbs, from the outside of the curb to the outside of the curb on both sides. That's how it was put together at some point. The asphalt on the inside ridge of that curb is probably from sprinklers watering and just being exposed, because the outside edge, lane number 8, is not doing this. It's starting to fall off and break. And so there's spots that are 2 to 3 inches wide all along the inside lane that the asphalt is coming off. So that put a halt to what we were doing at this point in track repair. Darren had a meeting with the contractor, the people who are taking care of the track, to look at what are the options or solutions, what are things that are available for us to do. I would hope that that's not the first time that they've ever seen that, so they will have some options. At this point, I don't have any update as to what happened there or any additional cost to that project, but it will be coming as soon as I probably have something in the morning.
Were we able to reduce the cost? When we met last time, it was going to be $832,000.
We went to the 724, was that right?
So we were able to get it down some.
A little bit down.
I think that was for some reason that number sticks in my.
Does that track have a natural grade anyway? It went away? Down?
So it'll have a slope to it because water will have to
Right.
run off of it so it doesn't pool. So
And I think it goes to the
It was to the
inside.
inside?
for sure. But then that curb drops off, I don't know what's a street curb, 5 inches tall, something like that. So I'll update you. They would put all that together. I didn't try to get any information from him this evening because I know they have to digest it and say, this, that, or the other.
Maybe they'll come back and say it's going to cost them less than they said.
Oh, I'm sure. That seems to be the trend right now.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Everything is, yes. Talked about the stairs, update on our pre-K building. Right now, the base for the parking lot has been installed, the water is connected. We have an internal leak that they're trying to adjust, and it had to do with some PVC pipe. It could have been wonky whenever they were traveling, but the manufacturer has been alerted. They're going to come check it out. The electrical contractor set the poles today for the new service, and our low voltage is complete. They still have to run 3-phase high voltage to that. And once the power has been energized to the building, they're going to start soft cleaning and waxing the floors, getting everything ready. General contractor had ordered additional aluminum, like we had talked about. They had only put a certain amount into the price. We needed additional aluminum to finish the canopies. And as soon as that is done, the canopies will be installed. The holdup for being able to move any teachers in there at this point is until we get electricity supplied. We can't put in the fire alarms, and it's not inhabitable unless we have our safety stuff done.
So what does it look like?
That was a question that I asked last week. Probably have a couple of teachers being able to be by the mid-August, the last week of August. And then what would happen is that we would move classrooms over the weekend and have the rooms set up and ready to go to where they can go. We can go one by one. Somebody was saying, well, can we put our guys on overtime and start getting it done? It doesn't help us until we get electricity in the building and get the safety situated. I think that's it.
Okay, do I have any questions for him? Okay, next we have our special programs curriculum instruction, Abigail's report. Anybody have any questions for her on her report? Okay, next we have Director of Student Services, Ms. Schneider. Anybody have any questions for her? I'm sure it's been real quiet, right, getting everybody set up and going. How about the business reports for Shannon? You have the bond payments in there, the $78,000, right, something like that. And do you mind me asking who that went to? I should know, but.
It's a combination of MTR, some of their services, Bear Environmental, the Region 13, our consultant.
Okay. I kind of thought it might be consulting fees and stuff
And
like
Robert
that.
Kissner, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all the consulting that Darren's doing beforehand,
Yeah.
just to get it going.
Yeah. Okay.
So it would be the asbestos, and then the last one she mentioned, they're the ones that do the core samples for us to find out how the soil is.
The
Yeah.
surveys and all that.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any questions on the compensation plan? Something we need to look at each time. Nothing's really changed, right? Nothing's changed.
No, I thought you were asking that.
Okay, then on the consent agenda, we have a couple of items, minutes of the board meeting, the donations from the athletic boosters. I think you probably saw what those were for. The application for the optional flexible school day program, and purchase of property and casualty liability and workers' comp insurance. Let me have a motion first, and then we'll ask questions.
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Carl, a second by Henry. I did have a question on the insurance order, and I think I'm already ready with my answer.
$16,000.
Yeah, lots of money. So the amount that's listed on the recommendation, it looked like it was $100,000 off to me, but you're saying it's not.
The workers' comp is different. It's offset through payroll.
Okay, but I thought the two of them together were the $394. The workers' comp is, I had it somewhere. But anyway, the one thing that I noticed, and this isn't probably new, but the weather peril deductible of $250,000.
It is actually new. Adrian, our rep, even came in last week, and I'm glad he did, to kind of go over some things. Last year, we kind of had an option about our deductible. to choose what level we wanted. He said that didn't work. I don't know if that didn't work for them or for us, but anyway, so this is a little bit different. So now it's per event on some of those weather, and it refers to a 2%. And at the end of the packet, they even specify the 2% for each piece of property, which was interesting.
Yeah, it's not all together for the
Mhm.
district. I thought
No.
it was-
Right. And
So is the total going to be no more than 250?
right, and also I want y'all to notice is like each event, and it says it like named or numbered. Windstorm, the limit's 25 million, and so, God forbid it wiped out our whole district, 25 million would maybe give us one campus back.
Yeah.
But like I said, hopefully that won't happen, but that is something, that he pointed out and I wanted to point out to y'all.
Did you feel comfortable with the values they put on all the buildings and stuff? I kind of looked through that, I didn't see a grand total.
Right, Darren's been pretty good walking with the guy the last couple of years. And also Candy even went through all of our vehicles. And we took about, a dozen or so off that were still on there, and hopefully, and then we gave it to Adrian, hopefully get some credit back
Okay.
on those buses that we've been selling and getting new. But yeah, Darren's pretty good about every time this guy comes, walking with him and previewing it.
And it's 16,000 more than, so we'll probably eventually see a budget amendment for that.
Yes, I didn't add it. I'm trying to reduce them this year, not have one every single month. But it's kind of like noted, so the next time I do bring one to you, that will be included.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions on those items? If you don't have any questions, we have a motion by Carl, and a second by Henry to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. That passes 6-0. And you saw what the donations from the athletic boosters were for, uniforms. Okay, on the action items then, we consider to take possible action to approve the schematic plan for the 23-24 or 23 bond project.
Okay, so if we remember, the first bond that we went out for was $32 million. And so based on our our strategic facilities plan, put everything together, we went through, we looked at, what do we need to make improvements, what kind of things does our district need moving forward, put all of that together, price tag $32 million. We put that out. Community thought that wasn't what we wanted to do right now. So we came back through the guidance of several board members here, said, well, how much can we get without a tax increase for the community? So we looked and it was about $11.2 million. So put that on the bond agenda. This passed. Now we go back through and look, what can we address safety security wise on that $32 million bond that we're going to roll into the $11.255 million. So we came in, we have our list, see it here, have it in front of us, went through, approved to send this to our contractor to come through and get cost estimates on everything that we would like to have, everything that we would like to bring over from that $32 million bond to fit into the $11 million price tag. After cost estimates came back, everything that we want, that we would try to work to get, we're about $5 million higher than what we're able to do. So that being said, let my notes on. Did you see that? No. Covered it up. So we have to figure out what do we have to take away from our wish list to be able to get into the price tag that we're able to afford. We had a facilities meeting on July the 11th, talked about that. Mr. Davis, Mr. Carl, and Ms. Nancy were in there. Talked about the obvious things that would we be able to make a dent. Some things were fixtures, security type information, vestibules, you're talking $300,000, $400,000 at a punch, and that's not gonna get us where we need to be. After, several conversations, about 30 minutes, didn't take long to figure out that the elementary gym / cafeteria flexible space, which came in at about, as you can see, I think it was at 3.8 million, right at $4 million, is probably going to be the thing that has to be taken off of its immediate list in order to fit into the amount of money that we got approved from the voters. We're also going to probably have to do some cost estimates, some changes to some of the renovations that we have at the high school, mostly the upstairs. The offices are pretty well set. There's some things that they said that they can move around. There's not a lot of contingency in this to where, we're trying to cover costs coming in, whether or not it's going to be too high. I think we're right at $500,000 at contingency there. We won't know exactly what that number is until we get the schematic designs finished and bid by the contractor. That's when they will come back with the exact numbers. We'll know where they sit. So one of the things that we talked about in the facilities committee meeting was to continue to design the cafeteria gymnasium flex space, because at that point they're doing all of this work. It's at a cost value for us to continue the design, because there may be some funding opportunities that we have to consider these things that we're not able to put on our first shopping list, our first want list, because this by no means is a indication of, oh my gosh, we overbid it, we don't have enough money, how are we covering, we're coming in behind, we did a bad job of this. That's not it at all. We have this much money. You guys have said, let's work as hard as we can to fix as much as we can, get as much bang for our buck as we possibly can. That's just where the list stops, and we have to figure out what comes off. By continuing the design, if we go forward with that, continuing the design as is, this is something that we would be able to move forward with. They said even up to 8 years. The design of the building, the bricks, the mortar, the slab, the engineering of that type won't change. The only thing that changes in a building are its systems, electrical systems, AC, computer hookups, those type of things. And the way that it was described by our third-party representative is that's probably about 20% of the total cost of the design. So they could come back in. And nowadays, it's not this piece of paper that they drew a pencil that they have to go back and fix. It's all digital, so it's very easy. So that's something to consider, which I would probably make the recommendation based on the recommendation of our third-party person, is that through this process, we continue to design that building and move forward. Because one of the things that we'll have to address is, without the flexible gym cafeteria space, we now have to come through and figure out how to connect these buildings, because that was one of the biggest safety concerns that we had, is connect where the current administration building is at the elementary. That's moving to the entire other side of the campus, which will bring the first grade wing and the kinder wing together. Now we have to figure out how to connect the kinder wing to that section that's the main hallway. And what our designers are going to do is put together a cost of what these walkways would be without creating a project that, if the gym cafeteria flex space was to come in after that, we're not having to, Lord forbid, tear something down that we just built, or build over the top of something that we already have. They're working that through. That would be a piece of what we approve in our continuation of our schematic design. What will happen is, we'll approve the schematic design process. They'll come back with base bids. In this, we would approve, the way the motion would work, we would approve them as discussed, kind of all degree, instead of listing out the way this paper is now, just under the assumption that with our $11 million that we're able to allocate to projects, we're not going to get this. we're not gonna get X. I'm talking about that.
When we talked about in the meeting, we said, you know, we'll get this going and that, you know, possibly later, sooner than later, we will come back to the public and say, okay, we were not able to get this in. This is what we can give you for X number of dollars, you know. If you want that, now look hard, you know, so to speak. It just, you know, did not fit into the 11 million. Kind of disappointing. It was very disappointing.
Really, that was a big selling point.
It was. That's why we're thinking that if we come back, you know, if they can see that we've done everything else that we tried to get, and a lot of it is safety, that this is the one project we couldn't fit. It's just a bigger project. But hopefully they'll come back and give us the money for that additional. I mean, we would even try to come back at November and ask for it, but that's a little too soon.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll have any other questions for that? Can I have a motion if you're ready to recommend it? Nobody wants to give me a motion.
Go ahead.
Madam President, I move to approve the schematic plans for the 2023 bond project.
Second.
It's Chris. All right. Motion by Carl and a second by Chris to approve the schematic plan for 23 bond as presented. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, with regret.
With regret.
Okay, consider and take possible action to approve the state waiver for staff development.
So we come to you every year with this proposal, some background information as you saw. The waiver allows the district to train on various educational strategies designed to improve student performance in lieu of student instruction during the school day. Basically what that means is the state addresses it as an educational day to where if kids were here, we get funding in that respect, although the students are not at school, and we address professional development in some very specific ways. This is a recommendation that comes from DEIC, and they are very particular about the things that are able to be conducted. You can't go make copies. You're not getting your construction paper cut out, or high school's not, you know, organizing their room, or not just high school, but, you know, I was trying to not pick on us an individual campus. Through our curriculum instruction department, they've actually designed a menu that has fished through DEIC and our educational administration of the things that are allowed and not allowed. We just ask that we approve us going and applying for a waiver, again, for 4 additional school days. Those waiver days would be this is what we're looking at now tentatively, would be September 23rd, October 28th, February 10th, and April 7th, and those kind of match up to the calendars last year.
Okay. Y'all have any questions for that? Okay, can I have a motion there, please?
Madam President, I move to approve the state waiver for staff development as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Henry and a second by Carrie to approve the state waiver for staff development. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay, consider and take possible action to approve the district's professional development plan.
As per TEA, the board, or Texas Education Code, the board shall annually review the State Board of Education Continuing Education and Training Clearinghouse, published under Education Code 21.4514, and adopt the professional development policy that must be guided by the recommendations for training in the clearinghouse. Note any differences in the policy adopted by the school district or school from the recommendations. Include a schedule of all training to be required for educators or other personnel in the district. To the extent of any conflict, a frequency requirement for the completion of training provided by the statute prevails over a frequency required for the training included in the professional development policy. Basically, what that means is the professional development plan that we've created beginning on the first day that we come back for the first 10 days of school, present to you guys have to approve that.
Okay. We all saw all the stuff they have to do. Okay.
And then there's an additional 9 to 10 hours on the platform that you guys use, the Safe Schools, to where if they, that first day, 7th, if they can complete all of the training prior to the day that they come to school, then that's the flexible day that they use.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, can I have a motion on that, please?
Madam President, I move to approve the district professional development plan.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Carl and a second by Carrie to approve the professional development plan. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, 6-0. Consider and take possible action to approve the committees in school to provide mental health services. Ms. Dawn, did you want to?
Just that we're working again with communities and schools to have their services again this year. So they sent us their proposal and we'll work with them again there this year. They seem to help quite a few students last year, and so we want to continue that.
If you might have noticed that, again, another budget amendment, we have budgeted for $88,000. It's going to be $90,640. And so that will be another thing that Shannon reminds us of when she comes for budget amendments, that this is another one.
It's a little bit more. Everything.
Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move to approve the communities and schools to provide mental health services.
Okay, I have a motion by Carl and a second by Henry to approve the communities in school for mental health.
And can I add, because you guys may get questions on that. Some people may say, well, that amount, couldn't you hire another counselor? And just to know that communities and schools, they provide a counselor, but it's also a packet of services that they bring to us. So it's not, they have outlets of different services. If kiddos need different things, we have an outlet to a social worker if we need to. They don't have one stationed. But I think last year they actually brought an intern also. So it's not, just don't want you to get caught at Walmart and they say, well, why did you pay this and you can hire a counselor for $75,000? So that way you have that
It's
information.
not just a counselor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. 6-0. Okay, consider and take possible action to adopt the amendment to the District of Innovation Plan.
So what we're asking for you to consider here is, obviously, as you know, House Bill 1842 was passed that permits Texas school districts to become districts of innovation and obtain exemptions from certain provisions of Texas Educational Code. We can't exempt from administrative code, but we can exempt from Texas Education Code. With the issues that schools are having across the state in bringing in qualified teachers and getting teachers to stay, one of the things that we proposed for innovation was an amendment to our plan that basically says if we have a person who has worked for us as a current employee and they have been working their way through college, so under normal circumstances for a teacher to come into a district and qualify under an alternative certification program, they would have completed their degree and met the requirements of an alternative certification institution, group, or company, whichever it may be. So if you have your degree, you can join through an alternative certification program and they will give you a statement of eligibility. And then you work through modules for the year, you take your tests. After, it should normally take a year, and then a teacher will have their alternative certification completed, and then they will get standard state certification. What we're proposing is if we have a current employee who has gone through their years of school and they're in their last year of college to where they will be graduating, we propose that they will be graduating in that year. Sometime during that year, the minute that they graduate, they're eligible to be into an alternative certification program and thus get a statement of eligibility as if somebody was to come to us. we're not talking about pulling people off the street that have a year left. These would be somebody that would recommend by the principal. I would have looked through this person's credentials and approved, because really we have one individual that meets this right now, and they're a phenomenal asset to the district. This person, and we kind of framed the program under this scenario, because if we have somebody that's already here and they're a para, and we show confidence that we want to help them build themselves into a teacher, it's likely that they're not going to leave us in 5 years as well. However, if this person does not complete their program and become eligible by the time it's time for them to get their alternative certification program, then we have to address that and possibly take them out,
Yeah, that's
possibly take them out of that role.
Yeah, that's what I was, because I know this is just for somebody that we already have, but if we're setting it in the policy, then we want to make sure that we're covered in case they don't pass or don't get their degree or whatever during the time that we expect them to.
And whenever I was going through and trying to write the language for this, we created a current employee. Because, I mean, if you don't, somebody could say, well, I'm just going to come to you and make this work for me. It kind of covers.
I had a year of college, you know, Army. Yeah.
Is their pay scale the same even though they're not
It
certified?
is not. That, I did not say that. That's what I got. So a current paraprofessional, this is also where it's an incentive to finish or to get more people to pursue this program. Current paraprofessional, would you say 22,000? A person who is hired in this scenario that would be finishing their degree, become eligible to be an alternative certified teacher, there would be no, their standing through TEA is no different than a teacher that's been here for 30 years. At that point, their teaching capability, and then we put them on the salary scale at $30,000.
So they would make $30,000 until they finish, and then they would come in as a first-year teacher.
When you get your statement of eligibility, then you then are directly jumped onto the teacher pay scale.
Like she said, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So if they graduated,
Do they get credit for,
The year.
through TEA for the years of
I would,
for retirement purposes?
so they're gonna get service years, but their pay is gonna be their pay.
Okay.
But they
Because-
do get the service time.
Yeah, so but their pay doesn't, you know, back pay, it's just from the date they get certified.
Because the first 2
Then
years,
their paycheck goes up.
I was a custodian and groundskeeper. That rolls over. It shows up on my TEA, TRS, but it doesn't show up on your service record for some reason. I doubt this would show up as a credible year on your service record for the half a year, unless it was 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah, and if they're the teacher of record, then it has to count towards their service year, I would think. I believe.
I don't see this being something that happens once in a blue moon.
Is this person supposed to graduate in a year?
December.
December, okay. All
So
right.
they're close.
Very close.
Okay, you have any other questions? And I need a motion, please.
And I'll say, sorry, the reason that this one is different is because it doesn't fit our CTE. This person will be a core teacher. They're going to be an intermediate teacher teaching
Okay,
the math, reading, science. Sorry to interrupt.
that's okay. Okay, can I have a motion, please? then?
Move to adopt the amendment to the district renovation plan as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Chris and a second by Carl to adopt the amendment to our DOI plan. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's the 6-0. Okay. Consider and take possible action to approve revised 24-25 stipend schedule.
Okay, so the way we revised and restructured the athletic trainer position, they no longer have classes during the day. It used to be they had a couple of classes, and a majority of those student trainers were able to enroll in those classes and kind of learn what they're doing, you know, in the evening. And the way we're restructuring it, those classes no longer are there. But we definitely don't want to lose that student trainer group. And so we're thinking we're going to turn that into a student organization and recognize it as such, and then have the athletic trainer be the sponsor of the student organization.
So does that open it up to any child in high school then? To,
Should. So what, the way that they're going to be able to have access to be learning information is we'll make them an aide to the athletic period, similar to an office aide. And then that's where they'll be able to learn and get their experience different than what they would be in a class.
so will the athletic trainer be there at the
Yes.
time during the class? They're
Yes.
getting paid a stipend during the school day?
The stipend is to monitor them after school during the athletic events.
And Friday evenings, Thursday nights, so usually they're Thursday nights and Friday
Saturday
nights.
tournaments, that type of stuff. Not any type of double dipping.
When I saw this, I was questioning why it was not a part of the salary package already for him to work with the trainers. You know, and I asked him to explain it to us because, you know, I thought, well, if we've got an athletic trainer, why don't we just train the kids, you know? And I understand he's not a teacher to be in a teaching class. And so they said it was kind of like a robotics organization or something that is totally, it would be like an organization rather than, you know, a class where they'll be attending a class.
But isn't that on a different pay scale in an administrative position more? So would that be like an administrator, other duties as assigned? Because
We
you're
get
getting that
it.
higher salary already.
It is tricky when we're given professional table stipends, but we do the diag, we did the lead speech, the lead diag and the lead speech have stipends.
And one of the things to add to, if we would contract with the hospital, so they would have been here at they would probably came at noon. They were going to be in the 90s with a guaranteed increase of 4% a year, and they would not have accommodated our student trainer program.
Could you tell me what his hours are going to be again?
So you have regular school hours, and then any time that we have athletic events.
So it's not, I know originally they talked about him coming in at noon, and because he'd be working in the evenings and stuff, so it's still a whole school
No.
day.
If anything, it would be a 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock, something like that, would be working hours, and then all of the athletic events he has to be present at.
It's still a long day. Do y'all have any questions on that? I had a lot of, I already called and got all my questions
Yeah, I
answered.
had a deal that I didn't understand, because the salary, we increased the salary quite a bit for that position, and now we're adding a stipend on top of that.
And a point to note, though, is, so whenever we figured the, because it's the intermediate principal, elementary vice principal, or the counselors, I had it pulled up,
It's in the
is in the same category.
same category as his.
Is the RN?
Yeah, he said the RN, but
So in that elementary counselor, intermediate counselor, middle school counselor, the health services supervisor, RN, our librarian and athletic trainer. And then when I did years of service into the way we hire, we got midpoint, the min and the max, and the min to max is usually 30 years. So you break those down into 30. I take the minimum and the mid if they're less than 15 years, and I'll take the max and the mid if they're over 15 years. And that salary came in like right at 73,000, something of that nature.
so
If that person would, if that position was still attached to a teaching position, and I realize that it's not, so we're not really comparing apples to apples, it would have been with the stipend that the athletic trainer position receives. If a person was at 20 years on the teaching schedule, plus that, it would have been at like right at 76,000, I think.
how many years does he have? I mean,
20.
So he was a teacher for 20 years?
Training years, credible training years was 20 years, is what his paperwork says.
So he worked, who did he work for 20 years?
Pearsall,
He was
I
at
think.
Pearsall before he came to Devine.
Well, that's okay. I knew he wasn't here that long, so I was trying to figure out how long he'd been around. Do y'all have any other questions? We kind of felt a little concerned about it because we had just denied a whole bunch of stipends. A lot of people stipends, the UIL people, everybody, and we just hated to come back and add another stipend to the list. So that's why I took it out of the consent agenda and asked them to let us have a time to talk about it, so.
How many kids is being a sponsor? I mean, how many do you plan to have, more or less, what we have now?
How many trainers do we have?
There was
6?
9
Oh.
last year, this past year. 9.
Sounds about
I think so. He does it football, basketball, volleyball.
At the most is for football, and that's about 9.
When Cannon did it, he attended two-a-days. And
Yeah.
they did still do that.
Two
Yeah,
days.
2 days. yeah.
They were there,
Yes.
starting next week. They attended all the practices in the summer and then after school and then Thursday and
It's
Friday
really a good
nights.
program. I mean, the trainer program is really.
They ride
my
back on the
daughter's
bus after the games, make the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. This was 10 years ago, so I don't know, but they unpacked all that equipment.
Yeah,
They
they
pack and
have.
unpack, they make sandwiches, they ride the buses back
They
and
don't make
forth.
sandwiches. but-
They don't make that.
It's a good program.
It's a
And
great
especially
program.
if you want to be a part of the program and not play, not
Yes.
be actually out there.
And be a part of
You want to be
it.
part of the program.
But it's also a pathway, that's what Jordan's going to be doing now. That's what she wants to go to college for specifically, so. I mean, it did open up something for her.
And we've had some people leave and be trainers, go into training like that.
No, it's a good program. I just didn't understand why we were now adding a stipend to it when we haven't had a stipend all these years. So I didn't know, I didn't understand that.
Did we have it when he was a teacher and a trainer? Did we
Yes.
have a stipend at that time?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
It's $12,000
But
stipend.
he just had a regular athletic trainer stipend. It wasn't necessarily tied
Right,
to
not
the
tied to
student.
the-
It wasn't the
that was
trainer.
It wasn't
Just that he was-
specific to this,
Yeah,
and now we're starting a student organization.
Yes.
Okay. If anybody doesn't have any questions and you want to approve the motion, I need to have a motion made.
Madam President, move to approve the revised stipend schedule as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Carl and a second, motion by Henry and a second by Carl. If you're in favor of approving the revised stipend schedule, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. 6-0. Consider and take possible action to endorse TASB's Board of Directors candidates.
So TASB Board of Directors actively promotes the purposes of the association, oversees its fiscal affairs, and establishes board policies. Starting Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, active member boards are invited to endorse a candidate for each available position for their region. Endorsements must be received by TASB headquarters by Thursday, August 29th. Candidates are board members who have been nominated by their local school boards for TASB board positions. There are currently 2 positions in Region 20 that are up for election, and each candidate is running unopposed. Ginger Friesenheim, position A, is the incumbent and is seeking re-election, and Richard Sena, position D, is the incumbent and is also seeking re-election. We can support either, none, one, whatever your pleasure.
If you don't support them, then you have to take your place. So. No, I'm teasing. They've been on the board a while, and I think the one, Friesenhahn comes from Harlandale, and Serena comes from Burnley. So.
And she's only been on the board 2.5 years,
Yeah,
right?
they have to run for their board again too, to be able to stay
stay
on
on.
TASB's board. So. Okay, do you have a motion for me, please, then?
Madam President, I move to endorse Ginger Friesenheim for Region 20, Position A, and Rich Signa for Position D for TASB Board of Directors as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, Karen, a second by Henry, to endorse these two candidates for their positions on TASB board. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, that's 6-0. Moving right along. Consider and take possible action to set the date for the team building, evaluating, and improving student outcomes training. You'd see the dates that we have. Just a little bit. There you go. So we have Tuesday, the 3rd of September.
Ms. Rahman contacted me, she can't do the 3rd, the earliest she can do is the 9th.
So we're the 9th, the 10th, or the 12th?
Didn't we originally say the 9th?
Yes, that's what you guys originally said.
Yeah, those were the ones. I mean, we had come up with some dates and then we asked her to look at them. So, well, this is one everybody has to be at. So you have to set your calendar now so that you don't put anything else on top of it. So tell me which one you think. Just one night for 3 hours. We can stay there.
Mine works good.
It's just 3 hours.
Monday,
November what?
Yes,
the 9th?
9/9?
Yeah, that's what we said at the last,
Yeah.
that's what we tentatively put down.
on Labor Day.
Yes. Oh.
So Labor Day is the 9th, or we can
No,
do
it's the
Tuesday.
No, I thought it was the
Labor Day's the
second.
2nd.
Okay. I thought you just said it for the
No, I
9th.
said our original plan was, we
Okay.
tentatively set it for the 9th to begin with, we did all.
Okay, it's not Labor Day.
Yeah, that's when we
The
tentatively.
9th,
agreed.
10th, or the 12th, do y'all have a preference?
That 9th.
The 9th? Is the 9th good?
It'll work.
We have to choose one, don't we? Okay, we don't have a motion on that one, we just need to set it. Okay, so, can I make motions?
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we set the date for the team building, evaluating, and improving student outcomes as Monday, the 9th of September,
What time?
Do you want to do 6 to 9?
6 to 9.
This is fine.
Okay, 6 to 9. Y'all in favor of that? I need a second then.
Second.
Okay, I'll take Ally for that one. Okay, I have a motion by me and a second by Ally to set the date as September 9th, from 6 to 9. All in favor? That means you will be here. You didn't raise your hand.
Can't I vote no?
You can vote no, but you still have to be there. So, okay, we have one dissenter. Okay, I think that takes care of our business for tonight. It is 7:24, so we will convene in closed session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act for the purpose of discussing items listed under Texas Government Code Section 551.074 and 551.082. No final actions, decisions, or votes will be taken. And we're not moving, so y'all just have to. I know you don't mind.